wrestling, but I mean, if I'm going to pay 20, $30 a ticket, I'd want to see WWE. I don't want to see the other guys. It's like you've got to make it affordable, and there's simple ways to do that in Thai stuff. It's like, is it better to sit there and have 500 or 600 people in there paying like, $2 for a child and $5 for an adult, where you can make it affordable so anybody can go? Or would you rather have 100 people in there paying like, $15?
Well, so I agree and I disagree with you there. And I guess I agree that there needs to be different price ranges so it's affordable for everyone.
Yeah.
But I disagree that people won't pay the higher ticket price if you provide the value behind that ticket
I understand,
price.
but the whole thing is, how do they know they're going to get the value, and it's not just going to be some shit
Well,
show that you see
a lot
everywhere?
of it, like we do our VIP tickets, which sell out almost the same. So we do a show.
No, I
our last
understand
show
that,
was
but
like
it's
June
kinda
1st, and we sold out of VIP tickets, 52 VIP tickets.
It's like if you're going to the All-Star game and you're paying $1,200 to go to the All-Star game in baseball, are you going to pay $1,200 to go see the Class A All-Star game? No, that's what I'm saying. You've got to try to figure out a way to get those people in there to make your money. When I used to work in the nightclub business, we'd have a door charge. Okay, if there's about 15 people come walking up, and we're like, hey, it's $5 a person, like that, like and I'd be like, you know what? I go, give me $5 for every 5 people. Go in there. Okay, anything you make at that door is pure profit at a bar. Okay, what you want to do is get them in there. If I can get those 15 people in there and they all spend like $15, I've made a hell of a lot more money than I would have off that $5 door charge.
Well, and your ticket prices.
It's not a bad idea.
Your ticket prices are directly related to if you have concessions or not.
Well, also, if you
and
sit
your
there, and
other
this is where
venues.
you guys are good, you get sponsorships. If you have the right sponsorships, your show's paid for before you ever sell a ticket.
Well, and that's one of the things. Sponsors are key to this business, and I think that you have to. But with sponsors, you have to be very courteous of that.
Oh,
because
I understand.
when those people start putting their logos on your brand, and then you come in and you do some just outlandishly offensive thing.
That's not what I'm talking about.
No,
I'm talking about making it affordable.
No, I agree.
You guys are great on your marketing. You put on a quality product, but you could probably expose yourself more if you had lower ticket prices if things are covered by your sponsorship. If your sponsorship's covers your cost for your show, then what's the harm in lowering the ticket prices some so you get more people in there and you expose yourself better?
Well, I mean,
I'm not saying lowering it drastically, like $1
I
per
agree.
person. But
And we do like to help build up our online ticket sales because online's obviously kind of the next, or it is the thing. I mean, it's not the next thing. It is the thing.
If those people aren't already exposed to it, they're not seeing your online stuff.
Right, but I mean, so we do offer, we give extensive amount of tickets to different charities and that kind of stuff. So we are exposing new people there. But
and you're still getting taxed on those comp tickets as well. So
yeah, well, and that's something we do keep in mind. But one of the things we do at XWE, and this is kind of a near and dear subject because I help run most of the advertising and marketing. Is we have $30 tickets. It's our VIP tickets. We sell, I think 48 or 52 of them. I forget how many tables exactly, but it's like 3 person to a table, and it basically goes all the way around the ring except for one side, and by the entryway. They sell out within 6 days of our shows. We ran a show June 1st. We sold out of VIP tickets June 3rd. And people are willing to pay that because we offer them great value with it. They get a limited pressed T-shirt. We ask them specifically for their size when they buy the T-shirt, and it's custom tailored just to them. And they know they won't, except for if people don't show up, and we have a handful extra that we sell at our MK Biker Shop booth. We do not sell those T-shirts, and you won't see them reprinted. We come up with a fresh design every year. So it's kind of a cool exclusive shirt for them.
Cool.
Yeah, see, I like that part, but I'm just talking your general audience. How do you sit there and get that?
But I also think that our wrestling is good enough.
If you can get a family of 5 in for less than $20, 2 adults and 3 kids or something like that.
We do $5 kids, $10 adults, and I feel like that's pretty affordable. I feel like our wrestling quality is good enough to accommodate that ticket price.
I agree with you to a point, but I'm saying if you could get more people in with just a little bit lower price, make it affordable so pretty much anybody could. It's once a month. I understand that. That's good. because you're not overexposing, you're not underexposing. But if you lower it down where you had like maybe $5 for adults, $3 for kids, you still keep your VIP the same thing. Everything else is general admission. If you've got special seating, like front row, second row, you got different pricing, no problem. But if you can sit there and expose and even people that are kind of hard up, they could probably come up with $20 to get their whole family into a thing.
Right, and I think for us, and not to cut you off there, Carl, because I want to hear your opinions on this for sure, but for us at XWE, we don't have enough seats for that right now, to be honest. Like we can fill that house at about 600 people is the top out, and consistently we're drawing between 275 and 350.
Yeah, but if you can get 450 in there, wouldn't that be a little bit better?
I think it depends on the venue and if you have the concessions or not in the venue.
Right.
That will relate to your ticket prices.
Yeah, because like
You
when
don't
they
have
ran out in
anybody-
Hoisington,
Yeah.
you could give away all the tickets, and who
Right.
cares?
That's what
Because
we
you've got the
used to do.
you've
Oh, I
got
know,
the
but I'm just
concessions.
saying-
We don't have that
Yeah,
benefit.
so if you don't
No, I
have
understand
concession
that,
sales,
but-
the only money coming in is either from
The
your
only reason
sponsor
I'm
or the gate.
kind of going hard on you guys because you're smart with your marketing, and most of you guys are pretty good about marketing and getting sponsorships. If your sponsorships have already paid for the show, if you can get more people there, it's better.
See, and because of the
Instead of $35 for a family of 5 with like that, if you can get a family of 5 in for less than $20, that's great. That leaves them $15 that they would have had to spend before to buy merchandise.
and I get that, and it's one of those. It's a balancing act, man, and you really have to know the
I'm
market.
just asking.
The market that you're going into, because what works in Salina is not going to necessarily work in Wichita.
Oh, I agree.
Which I think when guys are promoting shows, and this is on a general level, this is not anyone specifically in Kansas, or Oklahoma or anything, but when guys pull out shows and they say, "Oh, I'm going to run a show in this town," because they found a venue for $100 or whatever. That's not a bad idea, but you need to look at your local demographics too. If your local, I wanted to run not a hut show. I wanted to run a show in, what the hell is the town? It's
Osawatomie, Kansas.
no. Actually, Osawatomie's really good because they got Topeka and stuff. No, it was right outside Manhattan. I wanted to run this show because I had friends up there and they had a
Junction
sweet
City
video.
area?
Yeah, it was like a smaller town between Junction City and Manhattan. But I wanted to run a show up there. But then I did the demographic look, and the average person in town made $31,000 a year. Well, that's asking a lot out of that crowd. But when you go down to Wichita, and the average person's making $55,000, $70,000, $80,000. $30 is not asking a lot out of that crowd. And so you really have to pay attention to your demographics for
And see,
what
that's
towns
where
you're in.
That you've also got. It's not. You're talking financial stuff like that, but I mean, I've worked in like Wichita long enough, and I can guarantee you, ain't nobody paying $30 for their independent wrestling down there.
I don't know. I mean, because
I
Jared
can-
Rossick's group does decent when they come to town. They draw
I don't
300
consider
people.
them per se independent. They are, but they aren't. I think they're a little bit of a step above because they're bringing in guys that everybody's heard of.
They're paying a grip to get to the cotillion too. I think it's like $3,500 for the venue.
Yeah, well,
That's like, I mean, when you're bringing in
Jesus.
guys that have been seen all over
More than
international
that, but-
television, you can afford to charge a little bit more. I'm not trying to sound mean, but if I hadn't seen the product, hadn't seen the guys and stuff like that, there's no way I'm paying $30 for an
Well,
XW
and-
show or
and
a
again, that's-
BBOW show or...
no, and I get that point of view, and that's where it comes on me as the head of marketing to put together advertising that works. And you know what the best advertising is? The advertising you think isn't working, because that's what gets people into
Or
the
free advertising.
Well, and because
word of mouth helps a lot.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
and we have a very, very, very dedicated fan base, and I'm
That's what I
so
mean.
absolutely thankful for them. And we try and do a lot to accommodate our fans. You know,
There are people there 3-4 hours before the show at an XWE show.
Well, it's like you said, it's a
Easily.
lot about the demographic. And in Wichita, the only indie shows I've ever seen really draw people were lucha shows.
Yeah,
The
lucha shows are.
will draw 500,
A couple of
600
the,
in Wichita, but no one else
A couple
really
of the
does.
TNA shows do pretty well. A couple of them.
Yeah, but TNA's not indie.
Right?
No, I'm
Well,
just saying different shows.
we've run up against the clock here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry about this. I wish we could.
15 years and then he cuts
I wish
me
we could
off.
do another damn.
Well, I mean,
hour.
we could
You dare
record.
wrap me
We
up
could
in this.
record another hour.
Hey, Jimmy.
I mean, Jiggy, we could record another hour and do part 2 for the following Sunday.
That's right. We're going to keep the cameras rolling, folks.
We're going to bring the 18 back for 2
Bring the
weeks.
18 back.
But before we
Yeah.
cut this off,
Yeah.
man, Karl, you've had a lot of experience in the business. I mean, how long have you been working around here? Like 15 years or something?
Oh, well over 15 years.
So, what have you noticed, change-wise, in wrestling fans from when you started to now? Like, what have you noticed that you feel like maybe doesn't work anymore, or does work that maybe people don't think of?
Well, what I've noticed is that a lot of our wrestlers that are younger, they're a lot smaller, so it's got more acrobatic. So working an old school match and taking an arm and settling down, it's just really hard to get over now with the older guys. So the kids, everybody, they're expecting everybody to flip flop and fly everywhere. And in the old days, you didn't have to do that. A couple body slams, you could settle down. And nowadays, you just cannot do that. You got to keep going. That's why I would say the lucha show is more popular in some of the areas around here. Because they don't want to see you do old school wrestling no more. They want to see you go out there and practically kill yourself. So the biggest difference we got a lot younger and lighter guys. And that, it keeps that crowd a little more entertained because we aren't settling down into arm hold for 8 minutes.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the gymnastics, I
And
don't want to
be-
call it gymnastic style
Right.
wrestling. The high-flying, acrobatic, cruiserweight style is definitely taking over.
And to be, everybody's accepted now. Back in the old school locker rooms, a gay guy or a colored guy or something like that, or if someone wore a sheet, like was all mentioned earlier, that just wasn't accepted as much as it is now. So now everybody's accepted, and that's a better
I think
thing.
it was a lot more accepted than you think. It just wasn't broadcast.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
Pat Patterson's been doing it since the freaking
Well, it might have been
50s.
accepted in the locker room, but not out in the
Oh,
public
okay.
eye.
yeah.
Gotcha that.
Well, and I mean, I feel like, in terms of that, yes. But that's societal. I mean, we've grown as a society to accept quite a bit more than
Almost
we would have even. I mean, if you did an exact, like, if you went and watched Raw 1998 and you put on the exact same program in
It all
2019,
3 hours.
it would not be accepted. People would be losing their shit. It would be on the front page of Yahoo.
Losing their
Or like
Dude,
when
real,
Piper
it
did
would.
the half
It'd be on
price.
the front
He's
page of
absolutely right.
every news. Facebook would be outraged with soccer moms asking for USA to
'Cause you
cancel
got a
the
bunch
E.
of oversensitive pussies now doing stuff, and it's like, oh, that offended me. Who cares? I understand if you're being grossly offensive. There's a difference, but stuff that used to be funny, and don't get me wrong, I understand, but everybody's so, oh, I'm so sensitive. Oh, I'm a transgender, pansexual, whatever. No, you're not. You either have a penis or you don't have a
Well,
penis.
that's the
Well, I'm not gonna.
Don't get me wrong.
I'm not gonna commentate on any of that.
Don't get me wrong.
But
Don't get me wrong. I understand. I truly believe there are people that sit there and associate with a different sexuality. I totally believe in that. But genetically, by science, and they quote science when it's convenient for them, if you've got a wiener, you're a guy. You can associate and think that you're a girl. That's great. Go ahead. Be happy. Do what you need to be to do it. But until you don't have a wiener, you're scientifically a male.
well, again, I can't comment one way or another because that's just politics and religion. I try and keep out of the
Yes.
public eye.
Well,
People know where
I'm
I
not saying
stand on
so
most of
much
that stuff,
politics and
but
stuff like that. I'm talking about, and yes, I am, I guess, to a point. But technically, you can't argue it.
You can't even be an old school real heel anymore.
But Jiggy, sorry to take over
No,
your
no, no,
program,
no, no,
man.
no, no,
There's a
no,
lot
no.
I'd like to talk about. There's a lot of cool upcoming stuff for Kansas wrestling, and I'm going to shout out a bunch of people, even though I'm
Go ahead.
probably going to get in trouble.
You're
All
probably
right,
gonna get heat for it. But go
So
ahead.
we got plenty of good shows coming up if you are a Kansas wrestling fan. We got July 6th at the Pittsburgh Kansas, Kansas Crossing Casino for XWE Wrestling. First time we've ever gone to Pittsburgh on the road, so please be there. Tickets are selling fast. Front row is completely gone. Second row almost completely gone. Tables are all gone, and GA is filling up very quickly. So get tickets for that. It's going to be a heck of a show.
XWE Fierce Killer Karl.
XWE Great American Brawl, Salina, and July 13th. That's going to be the next one for the Kansas Wrestling Alliance. Following that, I believe it is going to be July 20th, World Wrestling Express I Want It All's event, which is featuring one of the men.
Hopefully, it's sponsored by Dr. Pepper. Go
one of the best wrestlers in Kansas. One of my good friends, Mr. Justin Gray. I love that man.
Ducking me, dodging me.
No, well, you know, Killer Karl may need to get his rematch for the title there. So
Very good answer.
check out that. I believe that's in Pratt, Kansas. Osawatomie, Kansas isn't running a show in July. I think they come back for MEW in August. But we have a head-to-head night. So depending on what side of the state you're in and where you can get, there's Summer Smash or something of that nature for Kansas Wrestling Alliance, or for KWR, the Kansas Wrestling Revolution in Salina. And then there is that same night a show for Prairie Championship Wrestling in Hutchinson, I believe. Gotta check that though, because I don't remember my calendar. I don't have it all in front of me, but that's all coming up. And then the following week after that is Gold Rush back in Salina for XWE. So plenty of wrestling opportunities coming up. Also, if you are in the Kansas City wrestling area, check out our friends at Journey Pro Wrestling. They do Thursday night wrestling, and it is freaking phenomenal. Packed house all the time, 250 people in the bar. You have to get there, and you have to buy tickets early because they sell out.
Great
So
time to be a Kansas indie wrestling fan.
Absolutely.
for
And whether we all get along all the time or not is besides the point. There is so much stuff that is going on, and it's different products full of different guys doing different things. So it's not like, oh, I saw this show, so I don't have to go to that show. There is something for everyone all over the state,
time.
and it's a great thing to just see all this different stuff going on, and really just the competition right now is making everyone so much better and on their toes. So
You show up 30 minutes late and you keep us in.
Yeah.
well, sorry, man.
No,
I gotta get my get my stuff.
He wanted to get his shit in. He wanted to get his shit in.
But,
But before we let
Typical indie wrestling.
John, thanks for doing this. Thanks for bringing Killer Karl.
Thanks for having me.
And Helms, thanks for coming in.
thank you, and Jiggy, we're gonna have to get together. I might do my own podcast called The Helms Hotel, where we're checking out of life and back into wrestling. So
We might have to do that, and
Is that a bed and breakfast?
we will
always bar and grill
Did you
just
say
for
head
JM.
breakfast? What?
Barbecue joints only.
we will talk to you next week. Thanks for joining us, and